So just to give people perspective, we used to offer marketing services to immigration attorneys as well as RCICs, regulated Canadian immigration consultants. And this is how it should pitch, right? So I'm going to reiterate here. I want you guys to understand the sales process and why we're even going over this. So effectively, with any sales process, you have to look at it like this. You have two types of opportunities within the sales process. One, you have appointment setting, okay? And two, you have what's called appointment closing, okay? Now, you can't have one without the other. There's no such thing. You need both. It's impossible to have one and not the other. It's impossible to have this without this, and it's impossible to have this without this, okay? Let's make that clear. The purpose, and then remember, this is your, let's go like this. This is your sales process, okay? So this here is the lifeline of your business. Without this, there's nothing. You won't have any scaling. You won't have any growth in your income. You won't have nothing unless you solve for this first, and then you solve for this second, okay? A lot of the stuff that we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks have been around appointment setting, effectively solving for this, which is, we've gone over a lot of strategies, right? We've gone over, advertising, right? We've gone over, outreach, right? And outreach can be, cold calling, can be, automated messaging, can be, cold emailing, right? Like there's lots of things that roll under outreach. There's also like, partnerships. We talked about establishing partnerships, right? Referral partnerships. So that way people are referring you deals. I'm not going to go through everything. There's like SEO. There's like tons of other shit. We're not going to go over it all because it's not important for right now. There's like about 16 other lead gen strategies in the curriculum that we can go over for appointment setting. Okay. Now, what this once you solve this, you're going to have a calendar that has tons of appointments on it. Okay. So I have sales reps. We have tons of appointments every single day. It's literally yeah. So these are all the appointments for today as an example. This is all the appointments for this week as an example. These are all the appointments for last week. These are all the appointments for the week before, right? So you can see that on a company level, whether it's a company level and you have staff or whether it's just you, it doesn't matter. You need this in your sales process, okay? So this is individual or corporate, it doesn't matter. This applies to both individual sales processes and corporate sales processes, doesn't matter. But the goal here, effectively, goal number one for appointment setting, okay, is appoint. Okay, so you want to get on the calendar, booked. Okay, booked. This one looks cool. Let's use this. Okay, so booked. This is what you want. Once you book them, then what? Then you need to close them. Okay, and here's what people don't understand. Closing. So appointment setting is actually comprised of two things. So it's comprised of lead generation and it's comprised of lead qualification. Okay? Because with appointment setting, I need to generate leads consistently. And then I need to qualify those leads consistently. Oops, I just realized you guys weren't seeing me. Okay, now you can see me, okay? So I need to generate those leads consistently, and then I need to qualify the leads, and then I can set the appointments, AKA book it, right? So that would be, this section here, and that would be the goal. So, but these are the two subsections of what we're talking about. So this section here is lead generation. So we just discussed lead generation. That is, this part here, this first part, lead generation. But you also have, qualification. And so that is a whole separate process, lead qualification, because you don't want to pass it to sales or you don't want to close it per se until it's met certain criteria. They have either funds to do so, they have the ability to do so, it makes sense for them to do it, both for you and for them. So that's called lead qualification. Normally you can do this in a couple ways. primarily you want to do it as automated as you can as possible. And that's what we teach in our systems. So, that's like your nurture sequence. That's like, automated, voicemail drops. This is like, you can actually send SMS recurringly, like with open-ended questions designed to engage the lead. Okay? So that's what qualification is all about. You can also have them fill a survey, right? So they can fill a survey with qualification questions. There's lots of ways to do this. Another way could be to call the lead through a CSDR, or not a CSDR, but let's call the lead through an SDR. So this would be a sales development representative, someone, let's just say in the Philippines, someone, let's just say, somewhere where it's not going to necessarily break the bank for you right away. And then as you scale, you can kind of like scale that up even more, build your team a lot more. But basically you call the lead through an SDR, and then the SDR will ask questions and ensure quality before passing it off. Okay, so now we just discussed these two processes, okay, within lead gen, within appointment setting. So appointment setting is the first process, and it incorporates these two things, lead generation and lead qualification. And these are examples of those two things. Okay, so lead generation here, and then lead qualification we have here. Okay, do we understand that? Raise our hand. We understand appointment setting. Okay, we're on the same page. Good stuff. Nice. Now, appointment closing is a whole different ballgame. So ultimately, what it has to do with is what appointment closing has to do is you need to do a couple things. So first thing is status delta. That's the first thing that needs to happen on the call. After that, you need to have this is gonna sound a bit weird, but I'm going to write it out the way I believe it anyways. Okay, we're gonna call it BMW dealership. I know that sounds weird. I'm gonna explain that very shortly. And then the last thing that you need here is you need the KLT factor. Okay. Now, this deck, Armando, okay, is designed to accomplish these three goals. Okay. These are the goals, just like appointment setting has 2 goals, appointment closing has 3 goals. Okay. And we're going to talk about those goals right now. So, all right, first thing is this, bang. And you know what? This is going to provide a ton of clarity to people who like just simply are kind of all over the place. Like they don't know, what's going on. What do I need to do on my closing calls? What do I say, right? It actually doesn't matter what you say. As long as you accomplish these 3 things, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. There's no script that you need as long as you hit these 3 things. Now let's just dissect these things because I'm sure you guys are wondering what they are. Okay. So let's break this down. So first thing we have here is status delta. First one, bang. Okay. Now inside status delta, what is status delta? Let's break that down. Status delta is your differential, you and the prospect. Okay. So let's just say I'm a marketer, right? I've been marketing since I was, probably in 2014, I started marketing. So it's a long time. We've been at it for a long time doing this stuff. I started off just by myself, and now we have a bigger agency. You're making lots of money, all this kind of stuff, right? So would you agree? Raise your hand. Let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you would listen to me when it comes to marketing and a marketing related question. If you had a question, okay, 1 hand raised so far, 2 hands raised so far. Okay, 3 hands raised so far, 4 hands raised so far. Okay, so pretty much everyone on the call. Okay, 5 hands raised so far. Awesome. Okay, so awesome, guys. That's awesome. So, and why is that? It's because of the years of experience, but it's also because of how I'm able to articulate marketing related discussions. I'm able to explain them really well. I'm able to use terms that people don't understand. And I'm able to, dissect the business, understand what kind of offer they need in order to succeed. Okay, so that's the first way. So let's discuss what that meant there. Okay, so let's talk about that first one. That first one there is called product knowledge. Okay, if I'm a pro at what I do and understand it to the point where I sound like a scientist, that's how well I sound, you know, you're gonna believe me in terms of the domain that I'm in, not in terms of like, obviously, if you wanted my plumbing advice, you probably wouldn't listen. What about my fitness advice? I don't know if you'd listen. There's probably a lot of other people that would listen a lot more, that you'd listen to a lot more than me. So the concept here is for you to build what's called domain expertise. So surface level domain expertise. So, and that comes from product knowledge. Okay. Domain expertise. Okay. So this is like your experience in that domain. What have you done in that domain? Right. You can, and over here, like domain expertise, how can we build that? You can build that with case studies. You can build that with testimonials. You can build that with, I want to say, that actually applies to the first one, lingo. So the lingo you use needs to be great. Like if I am a marketer that specializes in, like, let's just say dentistry, I'm not going to call them clients. I'm going to call my clients leads. Instead of calling them leads, I'm going to call them patients, potential patients, as an example. So the lingo, right? The way I speak about that thing needs to align with what it actually is. Okay. So, and that's going to build a certain delta in math means difference. So there needs to be a difference between the status of me and the status of my prospect when discussing something in my domain. So if I'm talking about sales, I need to be a pro salesperson in order to have that difference in terms of that domain expertise, because what you're trying to do is go like that. That's what you're trying to do. If it's like this, there's no sale happening. If it's like this, guaranteed no sale happening. If it's like this, and you're clearly that guy to listen to when it comes to that domain, or that girl to listen to, and the prospects here, because your knowledge is higher than them inside that domain, and that's clearly articulated to the client where they feel that way, that's the closing zone. Okay, because now all you have to do is close. Okay, whereas if it's like this, it's gonna be harder. If it's like this, it's gonna be way harder, right? You can't climb that mountain like that. So anyways, so product knowledge and lingo will help you build that, you know, that sense of difference. Same with domain expertise. So case studies, testimonials, those things will build that status delta, right? Okay. And, you know, ultimately there's other stuff that can do that, such as, I want to say, online credibility. Okay, this is the last one. I've seen people with no credibility online, like zero article, nothing about them, making multi millions of dollars a year. They don't need that stuff because it's not the most important. Is it an easy one for you guys? Like look, if you guys don't have case studies or testimonials, right? Like we go to my website, you know, we have tons, right? So we have like hundreds on our testimonial page. This is just like on our page, and look how slow this page loads. Imagine if I put the other 40 that I have on here, you know, it would just take forever. So we don't have time to do that. So we just put as many, like, that makes the most sense for us. So ultimately, you know, case studies, testimonials, if you don't have those, then you're going to want to likely invest in this because this is easier, but it still isn't as good. Now, effectively, what can we do? This is like press, right? So we can do articles, we can do, you know, interviews, you can do, you know, you can do like sponsorships, right? There's so many things you can do to build online credibility, but the goal is when I search up, you know, Armando, I think your last name's Orta, is that correct? I believe so, right? Yeah, Orta. So if I search up Armando Orta, okay, then what am I seeing in Google, right? Am I seeing enough stuff that's going to throw me over the edge as a client, or is it not enough for me to make that decision? And that could apply to your company name, that could apply to your personal name, whatever you want. Are we understanding the word status delta? Okay, we get status delta. So there needs to be a clear divide in terms of domain expertise, and you need to showcase that immediately on the call and throughout the whole call. Okay, first one, status delta, we understand. Let's go to the BMW dealership one. BMW dealership. This is effectively very simple. How can we create a BMW dealership atmosphere? Now, why do I want to say BMW dealership? Let me ask you this, and you guys can put your answer in the chat. Okay, put your answer in the chat in this question. So let me ask you this. Would you ever buy a BMW or a Toyota? Okay, it doesn't matter what kind of car. I just like BMW, so I said BMW. But would you ever buy a car? Let's just say you saw an ad and you went on that ad and the guy called you and you're talking to the guy over the phone. Would you buy that car over the phone? Let me know in the chat. Unlikely. Boom. Okay, good answer. No, that's correct. Keep going. The answer is no. You guys are right. You're not buying a car over the phone. What do you have to do in order to buy the car? You have to go where? To the dealership. Bang, Alice, you got it. Good shit. Good stuff. So what does that mean? What does that mean? So that means if I'm a mortgage agent, if I'm a realtor, right? Why do realtors close deals easier than mortgage agents? It's because they're bringing you to a showing. Okay? It's because they're bringing you to the presentation center if it's a pre-construction, right? It's because they're showing you layouts of your house, what it's going to look like, the condo if it's a pre-con, right? You know, you're seeing something visually is the point here. Does that make sense? So I am not going to buy a mortgage. I am not going to buy a marketing package. I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to buy nothing unless I see it. Okay. Especially if it's a high valued price point. The average order value is a little bit higher. I am not going to buy from you unless I see something visual. Now, what does that mean for us? That means we need something visual. Are we understanding the importance now of the deck? We get this now. Raise your hand if you understand the deck. The importance of why we need this. Fantastic. Okay. So we need this deck because no one is going to pay you lots of money without seeing something. Okay. And I'm not even just talking about like marketing decks and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about even if you're a mortgage agent. Let me ask you this. How many mortgage agents right now have a sales deck like this that summarizes all the loans they've funded? You know, this person had this household income. This person had, you know, this, credit score, right? So it's like, if they had this household income and this credit score, and I got them funded for, let's just say 600K on their loan, right? I got to put that in a case study. I got to put that in a slide deck. I got to let people know about it. Does that make sense? And that's this concept, right? So you're saying here, like you're going like this. You're saying here, household income, $89,000 a year, credit score, $600, mortgage pre-approval, $450,000. That's number one. Next one, household income, 56K, credit score, 565, mortgage approval, $250,000. Next one, 150,000 household income, credit score, 700, mortgage approval, 750K, right? And you might even want to put the face of your clients, like they're literal, like an image of them right there. This is just a choppier version that I was explaining this concept a little bit earlier this week. But ultimately, you need to showcase, and like in your BMW dealership, you should be showing the status delta, right? So you should be showing these case studies, these testimonials, these previous loans that you've served. You know, if you're featured in, like, let's just say a Disrupt article, like here's one of our clients, we got her featured in Disrupt, experience a worry-free mortgage process with Sylvana, right? So she could say that first, which is this part, the articles. Okay, she's mentioning that up front, that I'm featured in this article, and then she's saying, okay, by the way, look at my testimonials, and then she starts asking the questions around, hey, what's your household income? Hey, what kind of mortgage are you looking for? Hey, what's going on? But they're getting them on the call is the point. They're getting them on the Google Meets. They're getting them on Zoom. They're showing them the visuals, okay? Because that's what this is for. So BMW dealership, we need visuals. Okay, so hold on. Visuals must be shown for any sale above 2K. Even Apple products, you're not even going to go buy an Apple product on the phone. As much as you trust Apple, like you trust Apple so much, you know, like you're not going to call them and buy it from some guy on the phone. You're going to either buy it online on the website. Well, that's what they've managed to accomplish for themselves. Or you're going to go inside the store and buy it directly, see it, feel it, touch it, hear it, you know, look at it, and then buy it, right? So anything above 2K is my rule of thumb, needs to be okay, inside a BMW dealership, meaning it needs to be housed inside some kind of visual slide deck. If you're not meeting them in person, and you're meeting them over the internet, there must be a visual. It cannot be bland without a visual. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. You're not going to make money if you don't do this way. I promise you. Okay. Now, in terms of the next thing, which is the KLT factor, this here is arguably the most important aspect of your sales call. And if you can accomplish this, you'll make any sale you want, especially if the first two things have been done. Okay, so if you have the visuals and you have the status delta incorporated in the visuals as well, and you've built up your product knowledge, domain expertise, online credibility, that kind of stuff. Okay, you nail this KLT factor, and then the deal's closed. Promise you. Okay, KLT, let's break it down. Stands for know, stands for like, stands for trust. Okay, you need to get someone to know you. So understand your offer, understand your company, understand who you are, understand the deal. Okay. They need to know you, and they also need to know you, like particularly you. This is the most important part. What is it about you? Are you a smiley person? Are you a serious person? Are you what is it about you that I need to know? Okay, and are you letting me know everything about you to the highest extent, where I need to know all the information I need to know to make my decision? So I need to know you, okay, and your offer and your company. I need to like you. Okay, how do I like you? You need to be personable. Personable. Okay. Don't be so serious. Crack jokes. Okay. The other thing is add value. I'll like you. When do people like you? When you give them free stuff, right? They like you when they get free stuff. Okay. So add value for free. Okay. Don't when you add value for free, you're going to be in a position whereby, people start to like you easier. So even inside your deck, if you can say, hey, whether we transact or not today, I'm going to give you something of value that you're going to walk away with regardless, whether that's a free training on how to refi, how to pull out your equity, whether that's, a free training on how to get more marketing clients, blah, 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 all these kinds of things. Does that make sense? You're giving them free value, free guide, free checklist, whatever it is. They walk away with something they're going to be, and if you give it to them up front, they're going to start liking you in the beginning of the call. But also the like factor just simply means let them like you. So you have to be a social chameleon. Okay. So I don't know if I spelled that right, but social chameleon, ultimately, if you're talking to an angry guy, be a little bit more angrier, match tonalities, right? If someone has a low tone like this, then start talking like this to them. If someone's talking like this, then be enthusiastic just like they are, right? And that's called matching tonality, okay? People will naturally like you more if you do that. The other thing is say their name. If you don't say my name, I'm less likely to like you. The other thing too is make them talk about themselves. Let me tell you something. Human beings, they want to express themselves, whether it's what they wear, whether it's what they buy, whether it's the food they eat. It doesn't matter whether it's the content they post. Everyone is expressing themselves on a regular basis. So whether it be to their parents, their friends, the way they talk, what statements they make, they're expressing themselves. Okay. People want to tell stories. People want to feel heard. Does that make sense? So what needs to happen is you need to make them talk about themselves. Ask them questions about their own life. Okay. This is going to make people like you. Okay. Because naturally it's just how human beings work. And then the trust factor, you cannot, do anything that's going to, sound or be too salesy or come off as anti-trustworthy, right? You need to be super trustworthy. How can you bake trust into your offer? Instead of selling them on highest package, sell them on lowest one to start. That builds trust. Not even selling them, you can just offer the lowest one. You can give them, guarantees build trust, right? You can give them, satisfaction You can give them referrals, right? Like send them clients for them to actually close on. You can also give them references, right? This is something, if I call, if you're telling me that you're a good marketer, Armando, and I believe you, but I just want to confirm that. So I call one of your references and the reference doesn't check out, you just lost all my trust immediately. Okay. So references are key for building trust as well. But ultimately, you need to have also, trust is also built in your process. So your sales process, if it looks chiseled, okay, when I mean chiseled, I mean you have nurture emails, you have this corporate vibe, you have this slide deck, you have these packages, you have this contract that's chiseled, everything looks great. It has to look great, right? If it looks chiseled, okay, you build trust, okay, naturally. Do you guys trust, I'll give you a good example of this. It's like, do you trust Walmart more, or do you trust like a local like convenience store more? And the answer is always going to be the Walmart. Even though Walmart's done some shady stuff in the past, they've done some, they have some scandals, whatever. Like, you still end up trusting Walmart more because they're just a bigger entity. They're more enterprise. They have more resources to make sure that you don't get screwed over. You end up trusting them more. Does that make sense? So the like, and the trust factor need to be there in order for you to close a deal. Now, remember, I just told you at the beginning of this call, it doesn't matter what you say. You can say anything. You can say anything on this call as long as you hit these goals. The status delta of the BMW dealership and the KLT factor. You have those three things versus these two things in your sales process. Quite literally, you will be making tons of money. That's what will happen. And the goal of this one is to close deal. Yep. And the goal here is to craft a deal. Okay. I know it's a little choppy on the design. Forgive me, I'm not an artist, but ultimately here's the process, right? So your goal here for appointment closing is to close. That's the goal. And you need to accomplish these things in order to do so. Are we understanding the sales process now? We do? Raise your hand. Perfect. Okay. Nothing can deviate from this. This is the holy grail. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this with you guys. Give me 1 second. Let's go with this link, shareable on view. Okay. Copy link. And you guys now have this specific diagram. Okay. At any moment, you can come back to this. You can see the stuff. You can look at it, understand what you're missing, how to bake in more stuff. Now, Armando, I know that was a long answer. I know it was, but I had to do it for a reason, because now, boom, we're going to get into this. Why is this awesome? Before we begin, we're going to do this, 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 and this. That's called gaining control of the call. When you say, before you had your intro call, right? Your intro call, that was this call, the lead qualification call, right? The SDR call, blah, blah. So it's like, hey, you had your intro call. Today, we're going to go over your demo. We're going to go over your mortgage application today, whatever it may be. In 7 days, I'm going to get your mortgage funded. In 8 to 9 days, we're going to set everything up for you. And we're going to actually get the lenders to wire everything over to the banks. And then, in 10 to 12 days, you're going to move into your house. So you're going to have your new keys, right? Or if I was a marketer, I would say we'll set everything up, go live, start the program, etc. Dive in briefly. I want to share a system we're currently using to help these people achieve this result. Okay, meet Blaine, right? When we met last November, Blaine was just starting out, relying on referrals and his sales team. No reliable and predictable system to generate new high quality clients on demand. No reliable and predictable system to get pre-qualified for a mortgage. Just switch the offer. It's the same structure, right? He was sending emails, cold calling, and deals were barely coming in. He tried directories, radio, Google ads, referral programs, and even hired a few marketing agencies, but none of it actually worked. It wasn't consistent. So he was crossing his fingers at the end of every month, hoping and relying on more referrals to come in, and he was being held hostage in the immigration rat race, or the house hunting rat race, or the mortgage approval rat race, right? Fast forward to now. In first 30 days, he actually got about $500 in ad spend, 33 appointments, and a campaign revenue of about $12,840 in profit, so GP. So the revenue is 13K minus the ad spend, and you're looking at the GP, which is the profit. Okay. So you made 12K, roughly 13K in profit in the first 30 days just on Facebook. And then we also ran his LinkedIn, and he had about 1,900 LinkedIn messages sent over the 30 days with 28 appointments booked and $14,000 in campaign revenue. So you see $14,000 the first thing plus $12,000 the second thing. You're looking at roughly about 30K, just under 30K. In 30 days. Now, Blaine's in charge of his immigration business. He's now getting more clients regularly. You might be wondering, hey, that sounds great, but does it work for others? And the answer is yes. Aline Nguyen, Apex Immigration, bang, we did the same thing for her. Jinsi Yang, same thing for her. 15 appointments, 15 days. Next one, Bash Ali, 30 appointments, 30 days, right? You go through the whole process. She left us a positive Google review, right? TT Leo was like, wow, these guys are exceptional. We booked her 97 appointments in 30 days, right? You look at Pedro Centeno, same thing, right? Maria Alexieva, right? Yi Han, right? Like Alexandra Derman, Gerard Haggett, like, and all the others and the others, right? I'm trying to like overwhelm you with Status Delta. Does that make sense? It's an overwhelming push to accomplish this here. Status Delta, the first thing on the list. Product knowledge, domain expertise, case studies, testimonials, credibility, right? And then you get into the program, you get into what you offer. And so for the mortgage agents on the call, you guys wouldn't talk about a marketing situation. You talk about a loan you funded with terrible parameters, right? So if they had a low income, they had low credit score, I don't know, maybe they had something, wrong with their, maybe they're an entrepreneur, they have no money, in their personal side, they only have it in their corporate side, right? So you need to get them approved. So, I mean, ultimately there's a lot of ways to structure this, but that's how you lead up into your offer. And then you start asking questions and you start saying, hey, how can you, go ahead and how can this make more sense? And you can either qualify them more on the call or you close them. So, after I will list all these amazing things about testimonials, I'm like, with that in mind, let me introduce you to the system. It's called Deal Flow. By the way, this deck is like 4 years old. We have a much different process now. But this is good. This is a great starting point because it gives you the structure you need to then make your own customizations later. So this is a great starting point. So you go over Deal Flow. This is the system. Starts with Facebook ads. Here's what that looks like. Starts with LinkedIn outreach. Here's what that looks like. Okay. Bang. We're going to book appointments in your calendar. Your calendar should look like this. We have a mobile application you can download as well to track everything. Here's what you're getting, over the next couple months with Deal Flow. Here's some things to keep in mind. We're going to do a value stack here. So ad creative creation, $800 value, ROI management, audience building, $500 in value. So you list all the value. Then you list all the value again. So total value is 9K. After I list all the value, I'm going to tell you, look, the value of this is actually $9,000. And then I'm going to say, okay, bonus number one, I'm going to give you closing scripts. Okay, so that inflates the value again. And then bonus number two, I'm going to give you a software bundle. So that actually inflates the value even more. And then bonus number three, I'm going to give you our referral program access. So you just refer a client and you offset your whole cost with us, right? That's our next bonus, okay? And then I say, okay, the total value jumped from 9K now to 16K after all the bonuses because it is that valuable, right? So, and then I reiterate the results we've achieved. So it's whether it be the loan results, whether it be the marketing results, whether it be whatever, the immigration results we achieved. And I reiterate singular case study and I expand it out and say, okay, and there's all these other people as well that have done the same thing. And then I ask the golden question. This is the golden question, right? How many new immigration clients do you want over the next 30 days? And depending on what they say, I will give them the appropriate lender, right? If they say, what kind of mortgage do you want to get approved for? What kind of rate do you want? What's the rate you want over the next 30 days to be closing on? If it's marketing, you want to say how many new clients do you want over the next 30 days? And that will determine what package makes the most sense. And then you go ahead and you say that you give them, guarantees, referral program reiteration, and then we give them a same day signing discount. So if you sign today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, give 20% off if you sign by midnight. So same day close. And then you reiterate what's going to happen and that, we have good, reputation. And then we say, okay, let's book out our launch call. So you book the launch call on this live demo. They pay on this demo. You send them a contract on this demo right now, and they pay live on the call. No need to continue. No need for a long sales process. No need for any of that. Now, do you understand why? Now, you guys see the importance of Status Delta. You guys see the importance now. What I just showed you is the BMW dealership. That's what I just showed you. Without that, it's going to be hard to get the same day payment, right? So you need that there to structure it properly. And it's not even just about what I showed you. It's about structuring this in a way such that it makes sense for your offer, right? Like I even put some examples here. It's like you got to list the credit score. You can change this up. Like you're not going to need a Facebook screenshot. Any of this is editable, right? You can delete all this if you want, right? So it's absolutely endless. Like you can edit even these little things like boom, I deleted that, boom, I deleted this, boom, right? Like anything you want, right? Delete that. Like you can customize this however you want. I'm just going to give you guys a stencil for you guys to use, okay? So you guys can get started on this process of creating your, and remember, like, here's the overarching thing. Why are we doing this process and why are we doing this process? I'll tell you why. It's very simple. It's to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to provide what's called an SVP. Raise your hand if you know what an SVP is. Okay. An SVP, guys, stands for strategic value proposition, okay? All it means is you're different. That's all it means. Especially if you're in the mortgage space, it's like, or real estate space, everyone's doing the same crap. They're calling the leads, they're asking them to fill a mortgage application. They don't stand out. There's no difference between the two. There's nothing differentiating you, right? This process here, okay, with this, okay, and with this is designed to position you differently than the masses, okay? If you're like the rest, you will be treated like the rest, okay? 90% of realtors make $0, okay, per year. 90%. Okay, in Ontario, 90% of realtors do less than one deal a year. And that's leasing, buying, selling, it doesn't matter. 90%. They're all terrible. All of them are bad. Every single one of them is bad. Is it because they're part-time? Is it because they don't know what they're doing? No, it's because they don't have an SVP. Very simply, it's like a sheep in the middle of a sheep, like herd of sheep. How am I going to know which sheep to choose? They're all the same, right? Whereas if a wolf was in the middle of a sheep herd, which one am I going to choose? I'll choose the wolf because it clearly stands out. I can choose that. I can see it. I can see it from far even. Like even if the sheep are far away, I can see the wolf in the middle of the sheep. You see what I mean? And so that's what you want. You need to become different, okay? And I'm going to show you something right now and why we called our company Variance. If you search up Variance definition, okay? Variance definition, the fact or quality of being different, okay? So trust me, when I say that this is required, it's required, okay? Different, you must be different. The word variance in math means difference. Delta and variance are synonymous. They're the same words in mathematics, okay? So your goal is to build a strategic value proposition. Raise your hand if that was valuable. Amazing. Good stuff, guys. Awesome. Okay, I hope that was valuable. And now what I'll do, Armando, is yes, I will definitely flip you this. Anyone with the link, view, and then let's go like this. Let's make a copy of this. All right. This is what it'll look like when you load it up, and all you got to do is click make a copy. Make sense? That way you have your own copy. You're not infiltrating our copy. Here you go. Okay. Everyone go get that. Everyone dissect that. Everyone look at that. Everyone change it up. Make it for your offer. If you want to send it as an asset review after, no problem. I'll take a look at it. No worries. But yeah, effectively, this is what needs to happen for you guys to just predictably start making money. And like this could be for any offer, like we did, you know, it's all the same, whether you're in a valet business, dentistry, like mortgage, it doesn't matter. You need an SVP. It's the only way to do well. There's no other way. There's too many businesses in the world, like, you know, 80% of all marketers don't do well, you know. Most of them don't do well. They're just like people who think they're going to do well in marketing because they think it looks easy, and then they try it and then they fail. So ultimately, and that will, and look, failing is a part of the process, right? Like, so at the end of the day, you're going to fail too throughout the process, but ultimately just understand that these things are required. Lead gen, lead qualification required. Okay. Status delta, BMW dealership, and KLT factor required. You need to close, you need to set, and you need to have an SVP in the process. And and even if you just sell yourself like this, you will make way more money. Even if you, don't sell like this and you just train your staff on how to sell like this, you will make a tons of money. Okay. I promise. I'm not playing. I have people that pay me $30,000 just to hear this information you heard just now. Like literally one-time payment, 30K just to hear this. Okay. So don't take it lightly. Okay. Do this stuff, do it, please. It's going to change your life.